In dark times, it can be hard to see the light, but it's usually there somewhere. You never know where a bright spot just might land.
It almost looked like someone left me a note on my car.
That so-called note dates back to 1942. Originally in Dawson Springs, it blew more than 100 miles to New Albany, Indiana.
Who knows if the original is still around, and it might be the only one that they have left.
Poston went on a mission using social media to find the family and hopefully providing a bit of a silver lining.
He was really surprised, I think initially because he didn't recognize the names. He was surprised to see that it was his family.
The same town where that photo came from is where Chris Bear grew up with his parents.
The front door was right here.
Inside was this love note Chris's father sent to his mother in the 80s. In the spirit of love, Chris thinks about the people returning family mementos to high school sweethearts from 150 miles away.
But the past few days, I said I wasn't going to do this, has restored my faith in humanity.
The storm tested the strength of love.
Whether it's a husband and wife love, a friendship love, or just a stranger's love, that's what'll get us all through.
When Haley Burton thinks of a husband and wife love, she thinks of her grandparents who passed away in the tornado.
They were honestly probably the greatest love story of all time. He was a Vietnam veteran. She was with him all through that.
This is what's left of their home. Inside was this photo of Haley until it ended up 145 miles away in Indiana. It took less than 2 days for Haley to see it on Facebook.
Anything you can find to get back to somebody, it's a big blessing.
Candace Fleming and 9 of her family members waited out the storm at her parents' house in Dawson Springs.
I hadn't thought about that picture in years.
It's her and one of her sons. That photo also flying nearly 200 miles.
Most of us don't realize what these things mean to us until it's ripped away.
The man who found it connected with her on Facebook, but it's how he returned it that has touched her so deeply.
He took the time to make sure that even though that picture had flown as far as it had and been through what it had, that it made it back in perfect condition for what it was in.
He put the photo in a frame to protect it, wrote her a personalized note, and even included a donation.
So I think that a lot of this, like the items and then the people just showing up to say they care, is the epitome of saying mankind still stands together.
Heading into the new year, it's a reminder of how even in the darkness, we can find the light in compassion, love, and humanity. In Lexington, Austin Pollack, LEX 18 News. This church in Versailles sits on perhaps the perfect road. There's no mass or church service in this adjacent building, just a message Andrew Hager tries to preach loud and clear.
As long as there's a breath in your body, there's hope that there is a way out.
This is where Hager shines light on something that often leaves families in a dark time.
I did whatever it took, whatever it took to get high. No matter who I harmed, who I hurt.
Born and raised in Lexington, he struggled for decades with addiction. Starting in his teenage years, it worsened into his adult life.
I'm going to tell you about incarceration. That's something I know about.
And much of that started here.
How long were you in this neighborhood?
All my life.
It's where Hager says he felt stuck in a place he found it hard to escape.
I buried a lot of friends right here from this neighborhood. I remember playing on these streets.
A familiar face in the neighborhood back then, but not for the right reasons.
I was breaking in cars. I would steal their flare pots off the porches, if I could resell them.
Anything to sell for drugs.
They would get off their porches and go in and lock their door. Like, here this guy's again.
While this setting inflicted pain, it also inflicted what he always wanted.
I had to remove myself from this environment, so I could heal.
This struggle landed Hager in jail multiple times on a number of different charges. It's where he met Danielle Sanders.
He's honest. What you see is what you get.
At the time, Sanders led Fayette County's drug court program. That's when she met Hager. She says she's seen him at his worst.
And I'm in there and I'm dope sick, hadn't had a fix. I'm probably 140, 150 pounds. I got my jumpsuit on backwards. and just sick. I just see a guy that's a dressed up garbage can.
We asked Hager if he had any photos from family birthdays, holidays, and other momentous occasions. He told us he wasn't in many of those photos.
It caused a lot of pain, man. That hurt a lot of people, you know.
He didn't want to live like this anymore.
They tell you what the options are: prison, death, or recovery. You could choose recovery. And so once he finally chose that path and stuck to it, like I said, he's beyond remarkable.
In 2014,
I'm only doing what I was supposed to do all my life.
he chose his path on what had already been a journey.
My son made me, made me a Facebook again back in 2014. And the live button on the whole Facebook deal, it means you're actually live. I used to come in these places and steal this right? Today I don't live like that.
That's what propelled Andrew Hager Live, his weekly show on Facebook Live where he reaches tens of thousands of people around the country.
West Virginia action, my man.
Who are feeling a struggle he knows far too well.
It's a recovery to lift each other up. A lot of them are mothers with their children that are in addiction. It brings them that hope, that hope.
Once he logged on for the first time, he was hooked on something more favorable than the past.
We're going to get the pom-poms out. We're going to cheer for you, hear me?
He helps change lives. I'm proud of him, yeah.
Through his platform, Hager has one hope for people to believe.
Again, they can change. That's real, man. Ooh.
Remember that perfect road we showed you at the beginning of this story? There's a reason all of this happens where it does, on Hope Lane. In Versailles, Austin Pollack, Evening Edition.
You hit one of these keys and it's just, you need a sledgehammer to make it.
74-year-old Danny Duncan types away on a typewriter, hoping to one day write a book about his own story.
Oh, Bombay. I was in Bombay. Bahrain. Yeah, I was in Bahrain.
Those are just two of the nearly 40 countries this 22-year Navy veteran visited during his military career.
Built a chapel over there, too, for the Marines. We built, you name it, anything that anybody wanted.
But long before that, his roots started here in central Kentucky.
I was born and raised in Boyle County. I was in Boyle County, and it's changed.
He went to Parksville High School in the 1960s. It doesn't exist anymore. Before that school closed, Duncan had different ideas for his future.
I said, nah, I think I'll go into the Navy. Daddy said, well, if that's what you want, go for it.
And safe to say,
in the year of 1980,
it was a success.
Good conduct medals. Like when you get out, that helps a lot.
He has the medals, but there was something else until Monday when he turned the page to his next chapter, earning his high school diploma.
Lord can take your last breath. He gave you your first one, so he can take your last one, but you don't know when. But if you get into it and start studying stuff, he might say, okay, just prolong his life a little bit, yeah,
Boyle County High School principal Mark Wade takes note.
No matter what age, no matter what you went through, you can always pursue your dream.
Even after 22 years of serving in the Navy and in Vietnam, Duncan isn't finished, still finding ways to serve.
What made you decide you wanted to get your high school diploma?
I wanted to find something to where I could really help people. I think I could go through, if I ever got enough time, if the Lord let me live, I could go through and be a chaplain. There's no ending time of when you're here on this earth to do whatever you want to do. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Even at 74 years old, Danny Duncan's book, literally, is far from finished. In Boyle County, Austin Pollack, Evening Edition.